On President's Day, it's the president's night on television to push his plan for higher taxes to fuel the economy. A president's wife with unprecedented power. A CBS News poll of what the public thinks of Hillary Rodham Clinton. And Eye on Your Health, a week of special reports on what ails you. Tonight, Dr. Bob Arnott looks at treatments for arthritis and what really works.
It's some kind of a found miracle as far as I'm concerned.
This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening, Dan Rather reporting. Candidate Bill Clinton promised middle-income Americans a tax cut. Tonight, President Clinton will try to sell them a tax increase as part of his overall plan to revive the economy. The campaign begins tonight with Mr. Clinton's first televised address from the Oval Office. White House correspondent Susan Spencer has a preview.
Faithful to the great middle class.
In tonight's 10-minute national economic pep talk, Mr. Clinton is likely to cast support of his program in patriotic terms and focus on what the public will gain rather than what it will pay.
But, we're trying to change a direction of 12 years and take a new course. I'm going to offer a program that will create 500,000 or more jobs in the short run.
The short-run plan is a $31 billion package to give the economy a jump start. Along with it, a long-term plan to raise about $500 billion through new spending cuts and new taxes, referred to now by White House image makers as contributions. A new CBS News New York Times poll finds a surprising number of Americans are willing to contribute. More than half said yes, they think their taxes will have to go up to cut the deficit. And 6 in 10 said they would go along with $100 in new taxes. Up that to $500 though, and most said forget it. As for Mr. Clinton's now forgotten middle-class tax cut, 7 in 10 said they're okay with a rain check. As for other broken promises, most accepted the White House line that the country's problems are far worse than anyone thought. Special interest groups already are recalling the forgotten tax cut and blasting the overall plan. But some Democrats think maybe it will fly in Congress, just maybe.
There's a feeling in Congress that it's time for us to bear up under the burdens we've been elected to perform, and that is to make the tough votes.
Our poll finds more than half the public thinks Mr. Clinton is tough enough to make the hard choices. The gays in the military issue hurt his image badly, though. Almost a third said it's what they like least. Still, his overall approval rating stands at 53%. Disapproval, 30%. A la Ronald Reagan in 1981, with his charts and graphs, the president is banking on his direct appeal to ease all the doubts.
Obviously, a lot of us in the White House have looked at the Ronald Reagan's selling of his economic plan, but I wouldn't confuse technique with substance.
No, Ronald Reagan was selling lower taxes. How would the architect of that sales job tell Mr. Clinton to sell this?
Keep it simple and repeat it over and over and over again until he got the Congress to pass it.
Mr. Clinton seems to agree and will make his pitch on a series of sales trips around the country. The man whose campaign always remembered it's the economy, stupid, is not about to forget it now, not with this much at stake. Dan?
Susan Spencer live at the White House. Thanks. The president will spell out his economic program in another address to Congress and the nation, televised this Wednesday night. Correspondent Bill Plant has been told some of the details, and if you don't know what the initials BTU mean, you will soon.
There's an energy tax in President Clinton's economic plan. You can bet your hard-earned dollars on it. But it won't be a direct increase in the gasoline tax or a tax on imported oil. Too difficult politically. Instead, Mr. Clinton is expected to ask for a tax on the energy content of different kinds of fuel, as measured in BTUs, or British thermal units.
Unlike a gasoline tax, which would fall more heavily on western states where the driving distances are long, or some kind of oil tax, which would fall more heavily on the East Coast where they use heating oil, a BTU tax would tend to affect every region in a far more proportional manner.
The BTU tax would be assessed on all producers of energy, including coal, oil, and natural gas, who will pass along as much of it as they can to the consumers. The Citizen Action Group estimates that if the administration wants to raise $40 billion with this kind of tax, it's likely to cost the average consumer an extra $75 a year to heat with natural gas, an additional $50 to $75 for gasoline, and $30 to $35 more for electricity, a total of between $150 and $200 a year per household. Administration sources say that because poor people spend proportionately more on energy, there would be some kind of relief for them, perhaps an increase in the Earned Income Tax Credit. The National Taxpayers Union says the BTU tax is just a gas tax in disguise.
I think the bad part about this tax, it's a confusing tax. Most people won't know how much more they're paying to the government, and that may be the reason for the tax.
Critics say that if the BTU tax works at all, it's only because it is confusing. Bill Plant, CBS News, the White House.
Across the country, Americans are also talking about the new First Lady, the search for an Attorney General, and the impact of radio call-in democracy. CBS News correspondent Linda Douglas has more about that.
Among Washington insiders, there has been much fretting about Hillary Clinton's powerful role in the White House. But as often happens, the rest of the country isn't fretting at all. In fact, most people seem to think Mrs. Clinton is the right person to handle the nation's health care crisis, according to the CBS News New York Times poll. Asked if Hillary Clinton is qualified to chair the president's health care task force, 61% said yes. 59% said it was appropriate for the president to appoint her, and 45% said health care reform is more likely with Mrs. Clinton at the helm. In fact, Mrs. Clinton is generally popular. 44% approve of her, only 16% disapprove of her, and the rest have no opinion. The author of a book on First Ladies thinks the public is comfortable with Hillary Clinton's power because there is no attempt to hide it.
Many First Ladies before her have had a similar role within the context of the time, and I think the Clintons have been very different, made a clean break from the past in that they've been completely honest about it and very upfront about it and make no bones about it.
Okay, you're against the nomination?
If the Clintons seem bold, so does the public in the early days of this administration. The poll suggests the age of call-in democracy has dawned. 33% say they've called or written Congress or the White House.
There has been sexism, but it's come from liberal Democrats. It has not come from the usual suspects.
And Americans also are broadcasting their opinions on the airwaves. 16% say they've called into a talk show. However, the poll shows the callers are more conservative and unhappy with the Clinton government than the overall public.
And what about Nannygate, where public officials and nominees were condemned for failing to pay Social Security taxes for household help? In the poll, 1 in 5 said they or members of the household also had failed to pay those Social Security taxes as required by law. In Washington, those Social Security payments have become a scandal. But in the poll, most people said simply the law should be changed. Linda Douglas, CBS News, Washington.
Ever since George Washington was president, this country has been spending money it doesn't have. The debt is growing by the second, and here is our weekly update. The United States now owes more than $4,172 billion. If every American chipped in to pay it off this President's Day, your share would be 2 President Madisons, 5 President Clevelands, 2 President McKinleys, 5 President Grants, 2 President Jacksons, 1 President Lincoln, and 4 President Washingtons, or $16,299. Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, Mike Tyson's attorneys are back in court, arguing that the boxer is the victim of injustice. And later, our special series, Eye on Your Health. Tonight, what really works to ease the pain of arthritis.
Two years ago, the editors of Consumer's Digest named a very special car to their Best Buy list. Last year, they did it again. So this year, it was a great honor when they did it for a 3rd year running. Which means there are now Best Buys and consistently Best Buys. It's your choice.
If you're under a physician's care for high blood pressure, ulcers, or asthma, then your choice of a non-prescription pain reliever is especially important for millions of people like you. The one doctors recommend most is Tylenol.
Gas pressure means pain and bloating. And the way doctors see it, your best choice for relief is Mylanta Gas. It has the best medicine for gas.
Round 2 in court today for convicted rapist and former heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson. Tyson's high-powered lawyer told the Indiana Appeals Court that Tyson's trial last year was flawed, and he called for a rematch with justice. Jacqueline Adams has a report.
Out of the way, please.
His star attorney paraded before the cameras today, as did his star promoter. But neither Mike Tyson nor the woman he was convicted of raping attended today's oral arguments at the Indiana Court of Appeals.
They have treated Mike Tyson in the trial court as though he was Jeffrey Dahmer, Al Capone.
Denied bail during his appeal, Tyson has spent a full year in prison. But finally, his supporters believe the boxer may get a fair shake. Attorney Alan Dershowitz argued that the original trial judge unfairly barred 3 potential defense witnesses who claimed they saw the boxer and Desiree Washington embracing in Tyson's car, and therefore he might have thought she'd consented to sex.
Pray for Mike. I think Mike is a victim. I think it was a travesty that was happening here.
Mike Tyson, a victim? That's what a growing number of prominent African Americans see. That's what's fueling a free Mike Tyson movement here on the streets. Iron Mike, a victim of racism, the thinking goes, a victim of this country's dual system of justice.
He was railroaded. I think that if you just look what happened to Mike and then look at what's his name, Kennedy, all I know is he's walking free, Mike's in a slammer.
Tyson supporters believe any crime against Desiree Washington pales when compared to a system stacked against black men, especially prominent blacks.
You got the most money-making boxer in the history of boxing. And that's just too much control for black folk to have.
But what of Tyson's rape conviction? What of his victim, a black woman?
There is an underlying code in the black community among some people that says that racial solidarity should be valued above all other things.
At the eye of the storm, Mike Tyson remains convinced of his innocence, friends say, and just wants to go home. An appeals court decision, though, could take months. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, New York.
Stay here with us now for more of the CBS Evening News, including renewed rage in the Middle East. Why the United States will likely find the peace effort so frustrating.
Introducing something very, very fast. It can take you from 0 to 3,500. The new Ford Citibank Visa card. You get the security of a Citibank Visa, and 5% of everything you purchase goes towards a new Ford or Lincoln or Mercury. You could earn a rebate of up to $3,500 2 years faster than any other basic auto rebate card. The new Ford Citibank Visa. Now this is a better idea.
Mary Brody won't feel the tiny lump in her breast for another 2 years. But it'll be discovered tomorrow after her first mammogram, thanks in part to an X-ray film created by DuPont. And for Mary Brody, early detection means a 2-year head start on the rest of her life. At DuPont, we make the things that make a difference. Better things for better living.
You know, your mom says get 3 to 5 servings of vegetables a day. Who's got the time for all that chewing? I don't know.
I drink the V8. It's like a serving of vegetables.
Then one can, I got everything. Vegetable, it is you friends. I like it.
Before you freeze, remember this rule of thumb. Get Ziploc brand freezer bags with the gripper zipper. Tough, tiny teeth you can feel gripping, so you know freshness is locked in, freezer burns out. Do like me. Protect your ears. There's only one Ziploc.
A shot came through a window. This homeowner got his gun. This boy is dead. Who was guilty of the fatal encounter? 48 Hours Wednesday.
Colombia's capital city was rocked today by 2 huge car bomb explosions. At least 4 people were killed and dozens more wounded. No one claimed responsibility, but the police are blaming fugitive drug lord Pablo Escobar, who has declared war on what he calls police persecution. It was the 5th bombing attack in less than a month in Bogota. All told, at least 24 people have been killed. United States Secretary of State Warren Christopher heads to the Middle East this Wednesday, hoping to restart the Arab-Israeli peace talks. Palestinians are still threatening a boycott until Israel allows 400 deportees to return from southern Lebanon. Israel has agreed to let 100 return immediately and the rest by the end of this year. The dispute has set off a new round of violence between Arabs and Jews. Correspondent Bob Simon has the latest from Israel.
Just days before Warren Christopher's first trip to the region, Jerusalem is fired with fury. Israelis took to the streets tonight in rage over the government's decision to allow 100 of the deportees to return to Israel. People were convinced it was Rabin's retreat under American pressure that caused Israeli blood to be shed over the weekend. Last night, gunmen opened fire on a young Israeli couple driving to their West Bank settlement. Both were wounded. This morning, a young Israeli man was stabbed to death at a Jerusalem bus stop. He was on his way to work with his father, who was injured trying to help him. Neighbors said that instead of letting some Palestinians return, Israel should deport more.
I don't know. My heart of hearts, I would like to live without them.
December's deportations provided the spark for this latest round of violence, and right now, rage in the occupied territories is deepening as Palestinians realize that the rest of the world has decided to let Israel off the hook. This is how Gaza reacted to the news that the United States is satisfied with Israel's gestures, that the Arab nations have every intention of returning to the peace talks no matter what happens with the deportees. This is how Palestinian leaders reacted.
I believe that the way that some states are dealing with Israel is spoiling it more and more.
And this was the Israeli reaction to the growing disorder. They used anti-tank missiles to blow up houses where they believed terrorists had been hiding. They made dozens of arrests. They got tough with rock throwers. Since the deportations, 44 Palestinians have been killed, hundreds have been wounded in clashes with the army. The Palestinians are now asking themselves whether they too will take Christopher's advice and troop back to the peace table, or stick to their guns, boycott the talks, and risk being left once again with nothing but rubble. Bob Simon, CBS News, Jerusalem.
Hi.
Was it something I said?
Just a business trip. I came over last night. I had company.
You mean my brother? He just loves my coffee.
Your brother?
Savor the sophisticated taste of Taster's Choice.
Hi.
Don't tell me you forgot to pack your Taster's Choice.
Listen, I'm going to be in Paris.
How romantic.
Or it can be.
I must have been distracted at the store, because when I got home, I realized the cereal I bought was multi-grain Cheerios. Seems it's 4 different kinds of O's. I like it.
The multi-good taste of multi-grain Cheerios.
Next morning, the box is empty. The kids discovered it.
Now you can take your favorite juice with all its great taste and stir in new Dristan Juice Mix-In. Dristan will ease your cough and nasal congestion and soothe your pain without drowsiness. New Dristan Juice Mix-In is the newest way to take care of your cold.
Most of the Earth's surface is covered by water, which means most of the Earth is covered by Princess. No cruise line sails more ships to more ports of call worldwide than Princess, because it's more than a cruise. It's the love boat.
The people in this town are doing something together, something they couldn't do alone, and they're doing it for their kids. We'll take a look tomorrow on CBS This Morning with Harry Smith and Paula Zahn.
We're devoting Eye on America this week to something we all have in common, concern for our health. We'll look at the most common ailments and show you what you can do about them. First, arthritis. It can be painful and debilitating, but as you will see, it can also be treated effectively. Dr. Bob Arnott reports tonight's Eye on Your Health, what really works.
Sophie Emanuel has advanced arthritis. Just getting out of bed is an agonizing struggle and a small triumph.
Did it. I did it.
Mrs. Emanuel is one of 37 million Americans who has arthritis, a disease that attacks the joints and can destroy them.
This is a progressive disease. It gets more vicious as you go on. There are times when you feel, oh, I can't fight anymore. I'm just going to give up.
Let's go this way. But it shouldn't be this way. If treated early and aggressively by a specialist, arthritis can usually be arrested before it cripples.
Here's the problem. An estimated 50% of patients wait a year or longer to see a doctor. What they may not know is that in as little as 2 weeks, they can suffer permanent joint damage and dramatically shorten their lives.
Everyone hears that you can get this medication or that medication over the counter and treat yourself, but the course in the long run tends to be downhill with progressive crippling.
Rheumatoid arthritis can be as deadly as many cancers. Now doctors are employing a new strategy. Treat arthritis with chemotherapy. The drug, called methotrexate, can slow or stop the decline if given early.
It's effective at controlling the disease, and it has less toxicity than the drugs that we were using.
For decades, arthritis patients have been urging the medical establishment to consider new treatments, other than drugs or surgery. Now, mainstream doctors are buying into a most unlikely remedy, water therapy. 30 minutes, 3 times a week, has been shown to reduce inflammation and restore mobility. It works for 95% of patients with mild to moderate arthritis.
The difference between moving and not moving, walking and not walking. Either one.
An even more unlikely treatment uses painless, pulsating magnetic fields to relieve arthritis aches and pains. It's called biomagnetic therapy.
It's some kind of a found miracle as far as I'm concerned.
He's not alone. A new study to be published next month in the Journal of Rheumatology says biomagnetic therapy is effective in 80% of patients, reducing symptoms and increasing joint function.
Forward, chin to your chest.
The future of arthritis treatment may lie in a marriage of traditional and alternative medicine. Elena Stockel is being treated by 2 doctors for her arthritis, one at the prestigious Hospital for Special Surgery.
Just a slight tightness left, but much less than before.
The other at a Chinese herb and acupuncture clinic. What's remarkable is that both doctors work together. Mrs. Stockel's traditional doctor prescribes moderate doses of aspirin. Her Chinese doctor gives her herbal wraps.
This is Chinese herb.
Acupuncture.
It's really quite relaxing.
And massage.
I feel it.
Her condition is improving.
She has had a marked response to a combination of the 2 therapies. There may be active ingredients in these herbs that may benefit patients.
Oh, I feel like a human being again.
The only way to win the battle against arthritis is to start treatment early. Too many believe it's not a serious disease, that there's little they can do but live with the pain.
Bob, if you have arthritis, when do you know that you should see a doctor?
Dan, here are the key warning signs. If you notice swelling in one or more joints, early morning stiffness where you can't move a joint through a full range of motion, redness and warmth, or pain and tenderness, if you have that for 2 weeks or longer, you must see a doctor.
Now, this is a 5-part series. What's on tomorrow night?
Tomorrow, Dan, is insomnia, which is an epidemic in America.
Dr. Bob Arnott, insomnia tomorrow night. Look forward to it. Thanks. Coming up next on tonight's CBS Evening News, breaking new grounds. A Northwest Passage from conventional drip to a new brew.
What a day. I'd been in the hospital for tests since 9 a.m. It felt like my doctor ordered every one in the book. But the worst part was the waiting. It's no wonder I got a pounding headache. So I asked my doctor for something. With all the pain relievers they have, they use what I use, Tylenol. The test turned out okay. Tylenol helped me through the day.
Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Okay, bring your noses up to the TV and I'll show you that Folgers Crystals has more ground roast aroma than ever. Well, this is what you've been using. Sniff. Nice, huh? Now, take a whiff of the latest. Come on, there's enough aroma for everybody. Hey! Oh! Folgers Crystals, made with mountain-grown beans, fresh brewed and crystallized. Folgers Crystals, with more aroma than ever. Aroma so rich, you can taste it.
Wow, that's a lot of shrimp.
At Red Lobster, for a limited time, enjoy 30 shrimp for just $9.99.
What sounds good to you folks tonight?
30 shrimp, please.
Great choice.
With lemon pepper shrimp, succulent scampi, delicious grilled shrimp, and our famous fried shrimp. That's 4 different kinds. 30 shrimp on one plate, just $9.99 at only one place.
Only at Red Lobster.
And kids get shrimp too. A complete meal, just $1.99.
What's bright red, featherlight, and comes with an extra long cord? Guess again. It's the Dirt Devil Hand Vac. That powerful revolving brush cleans it all, from pet hair and dirt to stairs, cars, and little messes. So get the Dirt Devil Hand Vac and lighten up.
Why Centrum Silver? Because you're over 50 and you're just hitting your stride. Centrum Silver vitamins. Because the latest scientific research about changing nutritional needs after 50 is built in. Centrum Silver. It's a great time to be silver.
At the Coffee Cup Cafe in Sully, Iowa, a cup of coffee is 45 cents. The second cup is free. But that's just plain coffee, you understand. If you want culture in your cup, you've got to go somewhere else and pay a lot more. John Blackstone reports on the coffee connoisseurs of Seattle.
The worst of winter won't keep the people of Seattle from their gourmet coffee.
It's an espresso kind of day.
But they don't have to go far. There's an espresso bar on almost every corner here. And everyone seems to insist on designer coffee. I mean, a truck driver paying $1.75 for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, no matter what it costs, you know.
You'd think this might be the city that never sleeps. But the caffeine is most often taken here with a healthy portion of steamed milk. They call it cafe latte.
Once you've had a few lattes, you're hooked on them.
Hooked? You bet. There's gourmet coffee here where you'd least expect it.
42, Whopper combo with a Coke.
This is Burger King, right? Right. And you're doing lattes? And
we do everything. Mocha, double, we do iced lattes.
If by now you think Seattle is floating on a sea of coffee, well, you may just be right. The news is this tidal wave of espresso is about to break across the whole country.
The hot cities right now are Atlanta, St. Louis, Philadelphia, Boston.
These are missionaries of sorts. People in the business of taking Seattle's coffee culture national.
He said they're opening about a cart a week in Minneapolis now.
You go to a city like New York City and you're quite amazed at a city as sophisticated as New York with great food and great art. You can't get a good cup of coffee.
Howard Schultz's company, Starbucks, is roasting beans to send across the country, trying to save an entire nation from mediocre coffee.
A little bit of coffee.
Dave Olson is Starbucks' coffee taster. His mission is to teach Americans to demand more from their coffee.
Now, what should I be looking for in this?
Think about a almost springy, floral, aromatic quality.
People in Seattle really do talk about coffee like that, and the revolution they've brewed is spreading. John Blackstone, CBS News, Seattle.
Okay, John, we'll take your word for it. We'll be back with the live coverage of President Clinton's address to the nation at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 Central. Then, right after your late local news, a CBS News special. We'll take a closer look at the president's speech and what it may mean to you, and we'll have the Republican response. President Clinton speaks tonight at 9 in the Eastern Time Zone, 8 in the Central Time Zone. For now, Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. See you again soon.
Experience CBS News.
What really works to cure insomnia?
When I see my husband sleeping next to me, when I see the dog sleeping, my attitude is why me?
We'll show you the newest treatments that can help you get some sleep. Eye on Your Health, a special week-long series, continues tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. This is CBS.
Next on Hard Copy, bedroom